Hey friends, Daniela here, and so nice to connect with all of you. I know we've got a lot of new people in the group, so I just wanted to reintroduce myself very quickly before I jump into today's training. So my name is Daniela Warner. I am the founder and CEO of Addo Aesthetics and the host of the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. We've got over 350 episodes of straight to the point education, and we continue that education right here in the Spa Marketing Made Easy Facebook group. So we're so happy to have you here with us, learning and elevating the spa industry together. So I wanted to dive into a training today, really it's a condensed version of a 2-hour workshop that I did last week in Delray Beach. I was invited by Environ Skincare, which is a really incredible medical grade skincare line, physician dispensed skincare brand. They are distributed in the US by a company called Dermaconcepts. They're still privately owned. They have that small company vibe, which I really love, very supportive of their account. And it was just really a pleasure to be able to be there and interact with them and get to meet people in person. I really, really missed that. With COVID, not traveling as much. Now we're kind of back in the swing of things. So what I wanted to do is take that 2-hour workshop that I did with their top accounts and really just give you the high level overview of what it takes to build a 7-figure practice. So what are these 7 essentials that we are looking at as spa CEOs to build our practices to the 7 to the 8 figures, whatever your vision may be. So what we're going to cover today are these 7 essentials, which I have listed out as boundaries around time, pricing your services and products appropriately, very, very important, clear communication with your staff, a systemized hiring and onboarding process, tracking the metrics that matter, not just tracking things for the sake of tracking things, but tracking the things that actually matter for you, a holistic digital marketing strategy, and a business community. So those are the things that we're going to touch on a high level today as we go through. So let's start by talking about boundaries around time. And this is one that I'll probably spend a little more time on than the rest, because it is just so essential when I'm talking to spa owners. The number one thing is that they don't have enough time. And a lot of spa owners, a lot of entrepreneurs in this industry are females. A lot of these females have family. There's this conflict around spending enough time with my kids versus giving my business what it needs and focusing on my dreams and my desires. So getting this right and understanding your boundaries around time is incredibly important. And I know you've heard this before, but we all have the same amount of hours in the day. We tend to overestimate what we can do in a day and underestimate what we can do in a year. So I want to show you how to make time for the things that are most important. Now, and I want you to keep in mind that in the past 12 years, I have moved, the past 10 years, I have moved 12 times. My husband was active duty military for 21 years. He just retired last year. So I said, we are not moving anywhere. We're putting down roots. I had 2 children, in the past 10 years. So one was born in April 2020. That was a very interesting time to become a mother right after the world shut down. I have taken 2 4-month maternity leaves, and I have built a 7-figure company with all of that. So I am very good at making the time and prioritizing what is important. So the first thing that I want you to do is list out all of the personal things that are important for you. So grab a pen and paper. If you're a pen and paper kind of girl, I want you to write your kids' birthdays, your spouse or partner's birthdays, federal holidays, school breaks, anniversary, date night, girls' night, long weekend trips, family dinner. If driving your kids to school is important, if you don't want to work on the weekends, whatever the important non-negotiable things are for you to live a balanced, happy life, I want you to list all of those things out. And then I want you to next understand what is your optimal work time? So are you a morning person? Are you an evening person? For me, if I do something in the morning, I can do it probably 5 times as efficient as I could do it in the evening. My brain just like declines as the day goes on. And for others, they're the most productive in the evening. They're night owls in being able to do their work. What are you? So if you don't know immediately, do a time tracker. Figure out where am I? How efficient am I? Where am I getting the most work done? Where do I feel the most creative? All of those things are very important. And then we need to understand how am I going to schedule my day so that I can make sure that I'm getting the most productive work hours in when I'm being the spa CEO. Rather, if you're still in the treatment room, there's obviously going to be hours of operation that make sense for that. But for the strategic and leadership roles, right now you need to figure out, what does that look like? Rachel says, I'm a night owl, but I want to be a morning person. You know what? There's pros and cons to both. And there's not a right or wrong. It's just what makes the most sense to you. If you can be most productive in the evening, then work in the evening and allow yourself. We always focus on I want to be, if you're good at 10 things and bad at one, we put all our energy and focus into the one thing that we're not exceptional at. But what if we just forgot about that thing that we weren't exceptional at and put extra energy into the things that we were already good at and then become exceptional at those things, So I think that it's important to look at. And yes, we obviously have other people in our lives. If your spouse wants to have family time in the evenings or whatnot, then that is certainly family is always going to be more important than work, in my personal opinion. So you got to figure out a balance, and maybe that means involving your spouse. And maybe you can have quality time as a family in the morning or something, figure all of that out, but it's going to be a little bit different for each person. Now, over the years, depending on the season of life that I'm in, meaning, am I in a season where my husband is on, very intense travel, or do I have a nursing baby, or do I, whatever those different seasons are, which obviously just changed for me as well, because now I have 2 kids in school. My son went to preschool this year. So that's a whole new world of time availability. I have gone through and looked at A weeks and B weeks, A days and B days, and really everything in between. And when I say A week, B week, or A day, B day, it's an A day is all administrative. So all focusing on, content creation or just getting in the flow of productivity versus being on calls. And so for you, that might be one day I'm totally focused on being in the treatment room, and the next day I'm totally focused on being spa CEO and working on the business, rather than trying to work on the business in the 15 or 30-minute blocks that you have in between seeing your clients or patients. So really setting up your schedule in a way that's going to work for you. So your activity for this section, for making the time, I want you to list out all of the days that are important for you, and mark them off in your calendar for a year in advance. And what I do, I go through the entire year. I put my kids' days, I block them, my kids' birthdays as block. I do it on repeat. My spouse's birthday, block on repeat. Any federal holidays, because my husband works for the government, so he has those days off, block those out. So I'm looking at all of the things and set it on repeat. So year after year after year that you're doing this, it's going to get easier and easier for you. Then I want you to do a time tracker and really get a clear idea of when you're the most productive, and also get an idea of what you spend your time on. It's incredible if you are actually tracking your time. As we speak, myself and my entire team are doing a time tracker this week to really understand, where are we spending our time? we're going to use it to help understand profitability of our programs. Are there any things that we're doing that we need to create SOPs on that we don't have SOPs created for? There's so much value that can come out of doing a time tracker to really understand just so much more in depth about your company. So do a time tracker, understand when and where you're the most productive. And then from there, put your optimal work hours on the calendar. And so these are the hours that I am working, and when I'm working, I'm 100% committed to working. And when I'm at family, in family time or me time, I'm 100% committed to that. All right, so I'm going to move past, that was one. So I'm not going to go that in depth on every single one because we would end up being here for 2 hours. But I want to just kind of go over these to give you guys an idea of some things that you should be looking at. So pricing products and services appropriately. So really ask yourself the question, like, how am I setting up pricing for my services? Am I just doing what the rep tells me? Am I looking at what other people are charging? Am I doing just what feels right? Or am I just looking at consumable cost? And really the right answer is kind of a combination of all of these, because we have to also take into account the experience that patient or client is having with you. What are all the bells and whistles that you provide that are necessary to have additional costs associated with that? So really look at the combination of those. But in order to truly look at the combination, you must have your cost of treatment and profitability tracker understood. You must understand the consumable cost of every service that you're doing. And that is breaking down, am I using gloves? What softs am I using? A pump of cleanser, a pump of whatever, like going through the entire consumable cost of each service. And if you're getting these percentages, or if, when you're looking at the actual products used, it's cost per pump or cost per application. Typically your skincare company, the vendor that you're getting your products from, can provide that to you. I always add an additional 15 to 20% to what the skincare company is saying, because there's waste, there's overusage that happens, and I want to be more accurate. The skincare company is going to give you exactly what is in that bottle. And so when we're looking at actual use, we need to, account. I would much rather be a little more conservative on my pricing than to think that it's costing less and be noticing that we're using more and more and more. So get an understanding of the consumable cost, get an understanding of the experience. Look at all of those things to ensure that you have your pricing right. When you're going through and looking at the consumable plus payroll, you want to make sure that all of your margins are between 60 to 80%. Anything above 80, we love it, we take it. But the reality is when you add payroll in there as well, we're going to see a lot around, that 60 to 80%. Okay. So next up is clear communication. This goes into clear communication with your team. I will often say that 99% of the time, if something's going wrong in your company, it's your fault. And that's not to be mean by any means. It's just that it's one energy, it's one skill set to build a business up to 100,000. And most people really up to, maybe even up to 250,000. You're doing a lot of hustling, right? You're the person wearing all the hats. And then when you start bringing on a team, we don't want to bring on a team as a Band-Aid. I'm so busy, I'm so overwhelmed, I just need someone else to do what I do. I need a second me, right? That's a lot of times what we're feeling or thinking when we're going through this process. And that actually doesn't work. Leadership is a skill. So really understanding how to communicate what's in our brain, what we need to feel supported, what our expectations are for the role, communicating that in a clear way from the time of the hiring and onboarding and all of that, really understanding the expectations and communicating the expectations to your team is absolutely necessary to be able to have a functioning, healthy, productive team. And so that goes into their routines. It goes into their projects. It goes into team communication, like, are we having daily huddles? What is the process if I need to talk to you about something? Are we doing quarterly check-ins? When do I get a raise? If I get a raise, is that, when is the annual review? Like, all of these things need to be communicated crystal clear from the beginning, to ensure a happy and productive team. There's hours and hours and hours that we can talk about team communication and productivity, but just know that is something that is very, very important. All right, hiring and onboarding process. So attracting the right talent starts with the actual job posting. So we want you to make that as organized and as clear as possible, to attract top talent, right? If they see from the beginning that here's the job role, here's the expectations, here's the compensation, here's the hours, just a very nice detailed job posting, that's going to attract a different type of person than a job that just says, now hiring an esthetician. Okay, what else? Is there room for growth? Is there, they are interviewing you as well. So you want to put your best foot forward when you're trying to attract that right talent. And I believe that everybody needs to have a phone interview, an in-person interview, and then a practical interview. I'm a big fan of hire slow, fire fast. And hiring slow means going through these processes. And then when you are onboarding them, giving them a full 90 days to onboard, to ensure that it's a right fit for both of you. Make sure that you're doing an offer letter, have the offer letter, you'll take a lot from the actual job description and put it over in the offer letter. But this ties also into that clear communication in making sure that they are on the right track. And then the onboarding process, I consider those first 90 days probationary. And we just want to ensure that we're setting them up for success with our expectations. So with onboarding, if you're hiring a provider, I think it's really important to break up the training where week 1 is all about traditional learning. So you're going to learn this is where you're sitting in for like product trainings. You're learning the software, anything that someone is talking and you're taking notes to learn about it. Week 2 is going to be more practical hands-on training. So if you're teaching someone how to do a hydrofacial, if you're teaching someone how to dermaplane, if you're teaching someone how to do a Brazilian, this is a mind-body connection. We're using a different part of our brain. So it's good to keep all of those trainings in one phase and then all of the kind of brain trainings in a different phase. So organize that out. Okay. Metrics that matter. There are, you guys, metrics, when I talk about metrics or KPIs, key performance indicators, there are thousands. There are so many different things that you can manage or that you can measure. Don't measure them for the sake of measuring them, right? Don't do a KPI tracker and track these KPIs and just look at them and not actually use them in your business. You want to actually utilize these numbers, measure these numbers, understand what is it that I'm looking at? What is it that I'm trying to grow? And that, starting out in spa, there's 5 main metrics that I want to look at. So retention, lifetime customer value, retail to service percentage, client purchase percentage, and revenue per hour per room. Now, I will add also, it's a very good idea to be tracking how many new clients come into your practice every single month. Typically, when we have a problem, it's either a lead flow problem or a retention problem. So if your provider's not getting busy or, whatever it is, then, okay, if they're not getting busy, we need to understand lead flow or retention. Do we have 40 new clients coming into the business, but If we do, and we have 40 new clients and we know what our retention rate is, we can easily calculate that it should take X amount of time for this provider to get booked. But if you have lead flow coming in, but they're just not coming back, our approach, how we're going to solve that problem, is going to be very different, right? One is marketing and brand awareness. The other is client journey and client experience. So we need to really understand both of those. That's why it's so, so important to look and understand what these metrics actually are. All right, I'm going to go into a holistic digital marketing strategy next. So we're going to talk about organic social. We're going to talk about paid digital ads, SEO, email marketing, and your actual website, which is the kind of central hub of it all. So organic social is what you're posting organically, just on a day-to-day basis. That's going to be, you don't have to post every day, but you do need to be really consistent in what you're posting. I would say, at minimum 3 times a week. But I would love to see you doing Monday through Friday or Tuesday through Saturday, the days that you're actually open. Paid social, paid digital ads is using Facebook ads or Instagram ads to increase awareness of your brand. Those really, you first have to understand your vibe, your brand, all of that organically before you start doing paid ads. But paid ads can really start to help you get more exposure, help you get more clients coming in the door through social media. SEO is search engine optimization. So this is coming up on the first page of Google. So when someone is searching for spa near me, or facials near me, or microneedling near me, or Botox near me, we want you to come up on that first page for all of the services that you want to rank for. So really having a clear SEO strategy that starts with the Google My Business page, really getting that nice, neat, and complete is going to really help you come up in the rankings. Having content on your website. So whether you're doing blogs or, have keywords kind of throughout the different pages that you have on your website, that's going to be really important as well. But we want to come up on that first page. That's going to be huge. What I see in the thousands of spas that we have worked with is the majority of their clients are coming either from Instagram or from Google, from search. So those are 2 very important pieces of the puzzle. And then email marketing. So I want to know, and just be honest with yourself, are you only collecting emails of clients who have already come in to see you and marketing to them, or are you also collecting emails of potential clients? And majority of spa owners are only collecting emails of their existing clients or patients, not potential. And that's a huge missed opportunity that I want to really encourage you. And this is something that you can do through Facebook ads, through Instagram ads, is to really target potential clients, get them on your email list, provide them value, and then transition them into your own clients from there. And last but not least, friends, we're going to talk about business community. This is absolutely everything. So as you know, the life of an entrepreneur, which is what you are when you are a spa owner, so often we identify as estheticians. That's our skill set. That's our craft. That's what we studied and mastered and what we wanted to become. But the second that you become a spa owner, you're an entrepreneur. That's what I need you to identify as, because that is what's going to help you look at your business as a whole and look at creating a sellable asset rather than creating something that's just a really hard job for yourself, right? We want to create something that can be sold, that can operate without us. There's so many different benefits to doing that. And so having a business community of other entrepreneurs that understand the roller coaster of this very interesting career path helps you stay sane, helps you stay in it. It's so vitally important. So having those that you can talk with, connect with, get support, not feel alone is absolutely essential. That can be done in groups like this. However, I would encourage that these groups are so much more valuable if you can actually connect with one another in person, or find a friend in the group that can be your accountability buddy and do Zoom calls with them. Build real connections rather than just connecting in a group with one or two sentence interactions. Find those people. Some of my very best friends I've met through business mastermind groups. And so I would really encourage you to actively be building your network, expanding your network, finding other business owners, learning how you can help and support them. That is absolutely essential. So let me just do a quick recap of everything that we talked about here. Go back to the beginning of my slides here. So we talked about boundaries around time. So really making the time to be able to operate your business. We talked about pricing those products and services appropriately. We talked about clear communication with your staff, letting them understand what your expectations are. A systemized hiring and onboarding process. Tracking the metrics that actually matter for what you're focusing on right now. A holistic digital marketing strategy. And a business community. So I hope that this helps shine some light on some areas that you can be working on in your business. This is always continually going, continually growing, new level, new devil, right? So we never have all of our systems done. We never have our set schedule that's going to work forever and ever and ever, right? These are the main things that we need to be looking at. We need to be growing. We need to be evolving to that next level to ensure that our business does the same. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate you. Hang out in this group. We've got lots of free trainings in here, lots of support, lots of value to take your companies to the next level. Thanks so much.